All week, we again want to thank you for all your help in this venture. This thing has grown beyond bounds, and you guys are some of the biggest parts with all your help, all your press, and we do appreciate it. Want to make sure that we thank you. Again, if you have a question, this nice young lady will bring around the microphone. So if you have a question, raise your hand. These are your top 3 for the finale: Bryan Clauson, Kevin Swindell, and Christopher Bell. All right, question.
Bryan, you've obviously won every crown jewel of midget racing, but this one. You said you've had a perfect car and delivered. Just your emotions on the victory and the pressure of really leading from the very beginning.
Just really relieved I didn't throw it away. Or throw it away is probably a bad word because these guys were really good too. But I knew when we unloaded on practice day that we had a really good car. I said it last night in the presser that I felt like we had a car that would compete for the win tonight from the time we unloaded it. And it was really going to be a matter of not burying ourselves. And probably got lucky a little bit that Kevin got buried and had to come from as far back as he did. And we'll take a little luck here at the Chili Bowl. We've had our fair share of the others. So, the rest of the Coons, Joe Dooley, and everybody on that team gave me a great race car. And it was a long 50 laps after I got the lead, I'll tell you that much.
Kevin, we got to ask what was going on down there after the race. Take us through that incident.
Nothing that bad. I think all the people, aside from me and Christopher, made it a bigger deal than it really was. I was just a little frustrated that, I felt like, I didn't clear him much, but I cleared him enough that gave me a little help and, getting in the back of me there and basically, got me up the fence and that gave, Bryan the gap that there was no way I was getting back to him in that amount of laps. But, just a little frustration is it's how this race goes. And, I think it escalated more than I really wasn't that upset. I was just frustration and getting beat and probably just the whole weekend.
Right. Somebody was talking about the little dip down there in the middle of 1 and 2. There's a little spot right there. When you tried to roll the bottom, was that upsetting? How'd that affect you during the race?
Yeah, I struggled with it bad, for whatever reason, with our stuff. And I was really good through the middle there at the beginning, like the first 4 laps, and I think I got 2 or 3 rows, and then I guess it just kind of blew the slime off the bottom where everybody was and blew it up and gave that all back. And then when I tried to get down there, it was no good. And I think I was the first guy to go just all the way to the fence there at the beginning and just said, to hell with it, here we go.
Yeah. Christopher, you want to talk about that moment there with Kevin that he's mentioned?
Yeah, definitely. It was just kind of one of those deals where everyone knew that Kevin was a little frustrated with me, and then there after the checker, we kind of were swerving at each other, and then all the people kind of, like you said, made it a little bit bigger deal, and I obviously didn't know how frustrated he was with me or whatever, but yeah, so just all the people made it a pretty big deal.
Talk about, again, that I'd like to know about you down there at the bottom. You didn't really get down there that much, but talk about that little.
Yeah, it was definitely there, and actually probably helped me more than anybody because it allowed me to get under Christopher early on, and then underneath Caleb. He was struggling off of 2. We got him up the racetrack, and we were probably a little bit too good too soon, and and I knew that. So, but we were able to roll the bottom there for a while early on, and then just kind of I've been beat here by staying on the bottom too long, so it felt like it was time to get to the top, and luckily it was there when I jumped up there. And just tried to start clicking off laps as fast as we could. It gets lonely out there up front, especially when you haven't won this race yet, and you look up at the board and you got 3 Coons cars, 4 Coons cars, 2 Swindell cars, and I'm kind of a lone ranger out there by myself, and I figured those guys would be coming. I knew we were going to have to deal with Christopher and Kevin, and I thought Sammy at some point throughout the race. It's just a given here in Tulsa, and luckily we didn't have to deal with them too much, but we were able to put enough laps together to bring it home.
Kevin, talk about you and Rico. Pretty nice battle there for a little bit too.
Yeah, I seen him down there. I guess he was on the bottom. I don't know. I saw a black car down there a couple times, and maybe it wasn't right. It seemed like he was going pretty good. So I kind of cranked the adjustment to it and said maybe I'll make a run down here on the bottom. And it was getting tough to make 3 and 4 around the top, and thought I'd make a stab at it. And that lasted about a lap, and I realized that wasn't going to work for me. So just got back in line, and it was kind of a shame. My gimmick there, I think that I was getting everybody was running through the middle of 1 and 2 there through that little bit of moisture and kind of shortcutting it. And when that went away, it was going to be tough to just drive by these guys as good as they were.
You mentioned something about going too far on the adjustment one time.
Yeah, there was one run. That run I raced with Rico. I got it too tight, and that's kind of what I wanted it to be tighter than it was going to be for the top to run around the bottom, and I just got it too much and got to where it balled up on the right rear too much, and as kind of sketchy as the curve was, it just it made it really tough to do. So it's probably the only guy on the racetrack that freed up at some point late in the race there.
Kevin, a question for you. Obviously, disappointing to come second place, trying to tie your father. Just your emotions on, not being able to tie that record this year. And then my other question would be for you, Chris. Just talk about Oklahoma racers did pretty well. They had good pole positions. Talk about just the state of this state doing fairly well in this event this year. And I'll start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. You didn't get a fair shake, at it. I mean, obviously, these guys won prelim nights, and it's easy to win off the front, I can say. But hey, I started third. Yeah. Nah, it proves how tough this race is, and I think we were really good, and I think the B proved how good we really were, and being able to get away from those guys, and just the call back from as far down as we were, and man, my head was down, as soon as that heat race happened, and then put us behind that. But the fight in me was still there, I guess, enough to battle back through here, and I guess we'll come back next year and try to start another streak.
Just a quick follow-up question before I go to your question, Chris. Just Sammy, when you saw him have to go a lap down, I mean, did you happen to see that? And if you did, your reaction to that?
Yeah, I saw the mess happen down the back, and I don't know what completely happened. I'm not gonna blame anybody. At this point, it looked like him and he was side by side with somebody there, and then Larson come off the bottom, and they all ended up in a pile. And I don't know if he did something or Kyle did something or whatever. I'll have to go back and look at it. But it's a shame. I'm sure his stuff was as good as mine, and wish he would have got a fair shot to get up there with us too.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, as far as the Oklahoma racers go, they were pretty well represented here. It looked like we were going to win the first 3 prelim nights anyway, with Beeson getting it down on Tuesday, and then looked like Chris Andrews was obviously really strong on Wednesday. Just kind of made a small mistake there, but it really is cool to be able to have the Chili Bowl in our backyard, so to speak. I mean, it's definitely the biggest midget race and probably one of the biggest races in the country. So it's awesome to be able to come out here and represent Oklahoma.
Christopher and Bryan, both of you, as I look at the upcoming season, you were the Dirt USAC champion, Bryan was the sprint car champion. Now we have a situation where you two might be battling, not only battling, but the crew chiefs are brothers. Talk about what that seems to spell for the rest of the year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bryan's gonna be tough this year, and I mean, this is his first race with Rusty crew chiefing on it, so. I mean, he's going to be good this year, and I know he struggled a little bit at the beginning of 2013 and kind of let us get out there on points a little bit anyway. So yeah, I know he had a couple mechanical failures, and I was really fortunate that we didn't break very often.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We spent the last few weeks down in New Zealand together. We're getting ready to spend the next 10 days in Australia. I think we leave Tuesday or Wednesday to go down there and do some midget racing together. And it's a lot of fun. He's obviously done a great job over the last year and a half. Doesn't have a lot of time in a midget, and here he is on the podium of the Chili Bowl. So it's a great young talent. I hope to be a little better next year and beat him, but it's a lot of fun. And Rusty and Keith are, I've been fortunate enough to work with them, and they're two of the best. You're going to have to go through them if you're going to win something in midget racing at some point in time. So, happy to be a part of Rusty's team, and I guess not a bad start to knock off the biggest midget racing in the world as your first get together. So we'll I'm sure continue to get better as we learn each other, and hopefully knock him off next year.
Anybody else?
One more, if I could. Kevin, last year, obviously, you had an opportunity to do a variety of different things with NASCAR, et cetera. How are you set up for the upcoming season? You know,
Similar to last year, just hit or miss with a nationwide car, and whenever those guys decide they want to race is kind of how we played, and hopefully Indy Race Parts Bernie over there is not too upset about his week he's had, and we get to get his sprint car out a bunch. Me and him get on a plane in the morning and go to Australia to run basically the Knoxville Nationals of Australia this week. So never quits, and hopefully that goes good, and get back and hopefully have a good nationwide season and get back up there to the Knoxville Nationals. That'd be the biggest goal of the year.
Quick question. Bryan, are you running Indy this year?
I wish I could say yes. We've had a few talks of with certain different people, but every year just continue to work on the puzzle. And last year we were close, kind of came together late. So never say never, I guess, but not at this point.
Good job. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome
all right.
race.
We're ready.